Since 1916, Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs has held an annual hot dog eating contest. We have the data down below. I'm not going to read all the comments there, but what percentage of the contest in what percentage of the contest did the hot dogs eaten by the winner fall within 1 standard deviation, and how many did the winner fall within 2 standard deviations of the mean? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first figure out what the mean and the standard deviation of all this data is. So that means I need to pull out my calculator. Actually, let's scoot this over way over there. Pull up my calculator. I'll go Stat, Edit, and I'll go ahead and put in all these numbers. I'm just hitting Enter between each of them. I'll be right back. Alright, I finished getting those entered into my calculator. I just don't want you to see me sitting here entering them all. Alright, I'm going to quit out, and I'll run 1var stats, which is again in calc on this calculator. Run 1var stats, and it gives me a mean of 45.5. And my standard deviation is 16.56. Alright, so if we're trying to figure out which proportion of these are within 1 standard deviation of the mean, so 1 standard deviation, that means I need to be between 1 standard deviation below the mean, so 45.5 minus 16.54, 0.57. Is that what I said? 5.6. I should have actually rounded that up to 5.7. That's going to bother me if I don't change it. There. Alright. Not that it's going to matter, whatever. That's 28.93. 28.93 versus this number. Let's go second enter to pull this back up, and I'm going to change this to addition instead of subtraction, and we get 62.07. So I need to figure out which of these are within this range. Well, let's see, I get 1, 2, no, not that one. Not this first one either. What am I saying? We need to be above 28.93. Is that right? Oh, yeah. Okay. These first ones are just rather low. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's above 7. That's above 8. And just verify these other ones are outside the range. Yeah. So 8 out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 14. Looks like 8 of the 14 contests were within 1 standard deviation of the mean. Yeah. Within 2 standard deviations, I would take and subtract, well, 2 times the standard deviation. So let me pull that up here. I'll say second enter to get up to that one, and just multiply that number by 2. So 2 standard deviations below the mean is 12.36. And 2 standard deviations above the mean is 78.64. And looking through here, I think all of them, yeah, it looks like all of them are within this range. So within 1 standard deviation, we get 8 of the 14. Within 2 standard deviations, we get all 14 of the 14. Again, this is just to give you an idea of what the standard deviation, how you use it to say, if you're talking about a certain proportion being within a certain number of standard deviations of the mean, well, being within 1 standard deviation of the mean, just means you take your mean minus your standard deviation to get the lower limit, your mean plus your standard deviation to get your upper limit. If you're talking about 2 standard deviations, you could just do that twice, or take 2 times your standard deviation. Now, if you wanted to say how many are within half of a standard deviation, this is not actually asked on this question, it's just a bonus part. Half of a standard deviation, you would do the same sort of thing. You would say, I'm going to take, instead of 2 standard deviations, I'm going to say, I'm going to take this times 0.5. So this is saying the standard deviation, I'm cutting it in half, and that's all I'm subtracting from the mean. This would give us from 37.2, 215, to half the standard deviation above the mean, which is 53.785. And if I wanted to figure out which ones are within half of a standard deviation of the mean, let's see, we need to be above 37, but below 53. We have this one, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, that one's close. 6. Looks like 6 out of 14 are within a half of a standard deviation away from the mean. It's the exact same sort of question as the previous two. It's just taking only half of the standard deviation subtracted or added to the mean to find my cutoffs, though.